Hi, my name is Domien de Groot, audio drama writer, producer and voice actor. My whole life I've been fascinated by myths, fairy tales and fantasy. I believe that fantasy has the capacity to say important truths about life in a way realistic fiction can't. Growing up in Antwerp, I've always been impressed by the architecture and history of this proud medieval city. Later on, this aesthetic would definitely influence me. I love audio as a medium. I believe it has the ability to stir the imagination in a unique way. When I was a child, my grandfather used to make ghost stories for me on audio cassette. He used to jingle his car keys to represent an approaching undead skeleton. Good memories. The inspiration to make my own audio dramas came when I discovered the BBC adaptation of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. I listened to those audio tapes on holiday in a 200-year-old farmhouse near France, and that experience was very powerful to me. It showed me how immersive storytelling can be in pure sound. When I was a college student, I wrote and produced an audio drama released in 2010 by Audio Epics as The Witch Hunter Chronicles. Set in a dark fantasy world, more precisely the fictional Renaissance city of Seven Peaks, it told the story of the unlikely friendship between Ludlov the witch hunter and Samina the witch. There are rumors in the city that the devil himself will return and that witches, people with magical abilities, are to blame for this. And so the witch hunters are told to kill all witches on sight. Ludlov is the only witch hunter who refuses to do so. He suspects a dark cult that murdered his wife 7 years ago. The only person who can help him find that cult is the young witch, Samina, and her brother has joined the cult. In 2011, The Witch Hunter Chronicles won an Ogle Award, an American award specifically for fantasy audio drama. Judges praised the story for its rich backdrop of sound and effects, its professional music score and its powerful storytelling. Despite this, I still feel that the audio drama doesn't do the story that I had in my head full justice. That's why I've spent over a year working on a novel, which is simply called Witch Hunter, which was the original title before we decided to do it as a serialized audio drama. In essence, the novel tells the same story as the audio drama series, but it vastly improves it in a number of key ways. First, it expands the scope of the story to a much more epic scale. It tells us much more about the characters' backgrounds and motivations, and in particular, of course, the two protagonists, Ludlov and Samina. It explains the origins of Seven Peaks, the origins of its religion and its history in much greater detail. It expands the mythology of the world and introduces us to new locations which we haven't visited yet in the audio drama. It includes at least one interesting new character, and I'm not going to tell you more about it, but it's an interesting new character. It includes an appendix that tells the entire history of Seven Peaks, and most importantly, it radically changes the climax and ending of the story, which we felt was not as satisfying as it could have been in the audio drama version. And we've changed it, and I think the version in the novel is much more powerful. Now, as I said, we love audio at Audio Epics, and our intention is to make Witch Hunter an exciting listening experience, just like the audio drama was, but bigger and better. To do this, we'll need your help, but we'll also offer some cool rewards, obviously. Our inspiration for the Witch Hunter audiobook is Macmillan Audio's version of Frank Herbert's Dune. They created an unabridged listening experience for the entire novel, but instead of the dry one voice telling you the whole story approach, they had voice actors for all the different speaking roles as well as music and sound effects. It was in effect a blend between audiobook and audio drama, and I thought it worked extremely well. The Witch Hunter novel is about 90,000 words long. That would translate to a 10-hour audiobook. If you enjoyed The Witch Hunter Chronicles, imagine it 3 times as long, produced professionally, and perfected to the author's vision. That is what we intend to achieve.